I would like to thank one of my subscribers, D. Williams, for this article. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the face of the Black church fire arsonist down in Louisiana. You know, I'm not going to get heavily into reading this, but I am going to speak my mind, like I always do. We have hundreds of years of history that speaks on the torching of Black churches. Black churches, since they've been in existence in America, have always been torched. These churches in the South are some of the oldest Black churches in the country. Many of them were built by slaves, and so they have a very deep historic history. And they had artifacts and things in those churches that can never be replaced. These things have always occurred in history. And the article that Heavy puts out that shows actually several pictures, and I'm going to go through the article and show you several pictures of this person called Holden Matthews. They do the typical thing that you see them do out in mainstream media. Oh, have some doubts on the reason why this was done. And it's the same racial motivation that it always is. In fact, you can see him speaking on a neo-Nazi black metal artist. You know, Come on, y'all, stop the nonsense already. We already know what the history of this is. And every so often, these fires will crop up. If you remember back in the 1990s, there were a rash of Black churches being torched back then. And we know about all the church bombings and burnings back in the 50s and 60s. And you can go back even to Reconstruction when Black people had their own towns because, see, white people didn't want us back then to be part of their economy. That's why there were Black towns. They had to establish their own towns. So churches in those towns, when white mobs came to burn those towns down, there were churches in those towns that got burnt down as well. So it's a long-standing history in America of Black churches going down in flames at the hands of white supremacists, white mobs, neo-Nazi groups, KKK. The history is there. There is no point in you coming and trying to argue with me and talk about I'm a racist and stuff. No, your history is racist. Your present is racist. Okay, that's what's racist. But the name of the game, ladies and gentlemen, is when we start pointing these things out to flip it back on the person talking about it. That shit ain't gonna work here. It ain't gonna work. It's too much evidence and facts in the history and all the way up to present day that proves this stuff. Holden is exactly who I thought he would be when I heard about this story. And I'm not surprised. He is, ladies and gentlemen, the son of a sheriff deputy down in Louisiana. His own father turned him in. That's how he got caught. His father found the gas cans and was able to link his son to the church fires, and he turned him in. That's how he got ratted out. So they were investigating this, ladies and gentlemen. Louisiana Sheriff's Department, along with FBI and ATF, were all down there investigating the fires. Now, this dude is 21 years old, son of Sandry Parish Sheriff Deputy. And his father has been a sheriff in St. Landry Parish for several years. He has siblings, a brother and a sister, according to his mom, and they were able to get a lot of information about him from his Facebook page. So he was heavily on Facebook. Apparently, he's in some band and he's a lead singer in a black metal band down there in Louisiana. So these three church fires that Holden Matthews set was in a 10-day span. So he pretty much torched these churches back to back in a 10-day period, which started in March and ended in April. Now, there was a fourth church that he attempted to burn, but that fire was caught. So that church was able to be saved. These were all historically old churches that date back. I think the oldest was 130 years, 100 years. So these churches have a long-standing history in Louisiana. So it's no coincidence that he targeted and burnt these churches down, ladies and gentlemen. So his father's name is Roy Matthews, and he's a deputy. So Holden was arrested and taken into custody. Now, all of these pictures that you see here, they got off of his Facebook. And apparently the whole family have Facebook pages. So here's another one. So he was booked into custody about a day ago, according to jail records. And they're saying they don't know what the motive is. I know what the motive is. And, and you'll see he was praising some neo-Nazi black metal band. You know what this guy is. Come on, y'all. Stop this mess. Here's his dad. This is Roy Matthews. This is the man that turned him in, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the investigators are saying they do believe the fires were intentionally set. And, of course, the churches are upset. The congregation is upset, and they're saying, these historically black churches down there were destroyed. They had things in there that can never be replaced. And they do. They have things in those churches that date back over 100 years. I mean, these churches are very old in the South. And many of you from the South, you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Many of these churches were built in the 19th and 20th century that you see. Now, there's some old churches up in the north, but the ones that, especially black churches in the country, the oldest ones are down in the South. So it just goes over the timeline of the churches that were burnt, and the churches were all in Louisiana. Mount Pleasant Baptist Church, Greater Union Baptist Church, and St. Mary's Baptist Church. Now, Holden Matthews, the one that burnt the churches, he used to live in this area. He has since moved to Leonville, Louisiana, but he couldn't have been too far from this area to go back and torch these churches. They said he don't live in the area anymore, but he can't be that far away because he came back into the area to burn all three of these churches down, and a fourth one, an attempted one on the fourth church as well. So here's more pictures of him that they got off of his social media. Now, on his Facebook, he says he is a lead singer in a band and he plays guitar. And the name of the band is called Vodka Vultures. That's what he calls his band, Vodka Vultures. Here's another picture of him that they got off of his social media page, Facebook. And here it talks about him commenting on a neo-Nazi metal musician. You know, he's just talking about how apparently somebody that he liked out there. But you're sitting here telling us you don't know what the motivation is? Really? Okay. All right. So they were also, when they were investigating, they also were looking at several of his family's Facebook pages, and there was several Facebook groups that he also talked about. And once, let me just read it. He was a member of several Facebook groups where he talked about philosophy, commenting once about history being burnt. He also said that he loves learning about other cultures and faiths. And then he goes into, here's something he posted about Polynesian gods. Too far out there for me. You know, why these folks want to bother folks that are not bothering them. I don't get it, you know. But in my opinion, you know, it is just exerting what they see as power is over us. But the bottom line is, ladies and gentlemen, you must be a paper god if you can't reproduce. Okay. You're not that powerful. Powerful people can still reproduce. When you can't reproduce, that's a problem. Okay. No power in not reproducing. So these are just more comments he made out on Facebook. All of these are, I'll leave the article in the description box and you can go out there and look at it for yourself. So he's just talking about history lost, you know, and they're talking about a white church was torched, but they don't know if it was related. And, you know, that's the investigator's job to find that out. And you're just seeing some of the charred remains. And Greater Union, according to the pastor, were going to celebrate their 130th anniversary in July. Well, the church is gone now. So, ladies and gentlemen, they caught who did it. Am I surprised? No. It's the same face we have always seen all throughout history. Nobody should be shocked. But, ladies and gentlemen, as much as I dislike church, even these churches didn't deserve what happened. But I will say one thing, our people really do need to get out of these church houses for real. You know, there is no, you're not going to get any gratification or anything out of it. You're just literally sitting there being entertained once a week. You know, being in church has not made life better for any Black people in America. It has done nothing but keep us with the same oppressed mindset, keep us docile, keep us from thinking for ourselves. That's all the churches have done. They're not going to help you get out of these nasty situations that we're in this oppressive state. You're not going to get that from church. There's no salvation like that in a church house. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen, now that they caught the guy that did it. His own father turned him in. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.